Hi guys, how's it going? Welcome back to another episode of You Consulting. Today I have a very special person with me. But before we get to that, I want to tell you guys what we're going to talk about today. Today I want to speak about insurance. I have my friend John here. He's going to tell us his credentials and his experience. But we are going to focus mostly on OTR, over-the-road trucking. We may touch other parts of insurance, but mostly we want to talk about OTR trucking because that's what I'm a professional at. And John is also a professional for insurance. John, can you tell them about yourself, please?
Yeah, my family's been in the trucking industry for 30 years. Between my dad and his older brother, they've been around for a while. And grew up in trucking, and I got into insurance about 4 years ago. Initially, I got into it just help my dad out with his policies and, try and save him money. But as I got into it, as people kept calling and referrals came, I realized a lot of people don't know what insurances they need. And educating people as to know you actually need this much coverage or you need this to get into this kind of trucking. That's kind of how I focus my business around it.
Just real quick to add on to John, I had a really, really bad accident back in March. One of my drivers, he had an accident. It involved a fatality. It involved 11-car collision. It was a really, really bad tragedy, but we were able to fix it and find a solution through the help of John. John is great. He knows exactly what he's doing. So that's why I trust him, and that's why I wanted to shoot this episode with him. So John, for OTR trucking, right? What kind of coverages does, let's say, a new entrepreneur, they buy a truck, now they got their registration, they got everything, they got their MC number open, DOT number open. What kind of coverages do they need for their insurance to work over the road?
So for the FMCSA, you need to carry $750,000 out of liability. Now, that will get your authority active, but in order to work with 99% of the brokers in the over-the-road industry, you need $1 million in liability. Depending on the loads you take, the standard that I see is about $100,000 in cargo, and that's a broker requirement. Now, some brokers, they may tell you, no, we want $250,000 in cargo, which is, you don't need to take out a separate policy for that. You would just talk to your agent at that time and say, hey, could you increase my limit to $250,000? You need a physical damage policy that covers your tractors. I mean, it's not required, it's your choice, but if you own the units, of course you want to put insurance on them, God forbid they get in an accident. Now, general liability depends. It's always good to have it. Its premiums are pretty cheap on it, but it's more covering your liabilities. If you have an office space and a lot of people coming in and out, it's definitely something you want to have.
So John, you said $750,000 for liability and $100,000 for cargo. Is that the minimum that we need?
No, so the minimum is $750,000 for the liability, else your authority won't go active and you can't even move the truck. But
real quick, to cut you off right there, I want to touch liability. So you need minimum $750,000. What do most brokers want? They want
$1 million. If you send them a certificate of insurance with $750,000 in it, they're going to send it back and say we need a certificate with $1 million. The reasoning behind it is it all comes down to insurance. Those brokers you work with, they have insurance policies, which is why they will not release a load to you until they have your certificate of insurance, because their insurance requires them to have it.
That's why I pay $1 million. I pay a lot. But anyway, the next thing, John, that I want to ask you is, I've worked with Progressive. I've worked with state insurance. What kind of insurances are there? Like private, public? I don't know.
So you have your standard markets. You have surplus lines. So when you said state insurance, right? The state program is pretty much, as I said, the FMCSA requires you to carry $750,000 in liability limit.
Mm-hmm.
If you have horrible losses and there's not a single carrier that wants to give you a quote, the state has to give you a quote. So, but the state places it with standard markets. Now, the main thing you really want to look at for over the road as far as the types of insurance is the rating of the carrier. Like Progressive is an A-rated carrier. The state program, they'll put you with or New Jersey will put you with National Specialty or National Continental. Both of them are A-rated carriers. Your brokers, most brokers want A-rated carriers. The rating is the financial security of the insurance carrier. So this way the broker knows, hey, you know what? God forbid you get into this huge claim. We know you're backed by an insurance carrier that has the money to pay out on this. So you might get a quote from a risk retention group. Now, that quote is going to be significantly cheaper. But, like for just some brokers off the top of my head, JB Hunt won't work with you for some risk retention groups. Landstar won't. CH Robinson, I've seen some people say they've got it, other people say they get blocked. So that makes a difference.
So you're saying that the type of insurance you have, what the ratings are, depends on which brokers will work with you.
Yeah.
What I want to ask you, what kind of recommendation would you say? Would you say go with a certain type?
It depends. That's like the main questions you get is, which carriers are you going to put me with, and how much is my quote going to be? It's really hard to answer that question until you have all the info. Like if you're a single owner operator and you have one truck, you tell me you have no plans of growth, you just want to dispatch yourself and drive, Progressive's a great option. That's their niche. They like that. But if you tell me, hey, I'm thinking I'm going to add 3 trucks this year, with Progressive rates by the driver as well. So your quote will always change. Whereas a company like AIG or Lancer, theirs is as long as the driver meets the criteria, there's no additional charge. So depending on the risk, it depends where you should go.
So then that you can probably help a person.
Then you're looking at more underwriting than insurance itself.
Okay, John, my next question is, you kind of touched a little bit about it, but I want to ask you, how do you find a proper quote? And I know this is a tough question, but just if you could give me a general outlook on things.
My thing is that the best way to find a quote is you yourself need to understand what coverages you want. Because if you don't know what you need to run your company, it is very easy to take advantage of a person. At the end of the day, there's no shortage of insurance policies that I can sell you. Do you need all of those? Insurance is all about managing your risk. Now, all I can do is if you give me the full description of your business with all the detail, I assess where your risks are and I recommend these policies will cover you here. It's up to you then at that point what you want to do.
Okay, so I got it. So most brokers, they need $1 million coverage, right? Just to touch base on what we spoke about. You need liability, you need cargo, and physical damage. Mm-hmm. And cargo, you said, is usually $100,000, and then you need to cover your vehicle, especially if you own it. And depending on the ratings of the insurance company, would depend on which kind of brokers will work with you. Now, John, I also seen this a lot. Whenever I go to an insurance agent, they're always like, "Hey, you have to have a clean license. You have to have a clean license." What's the significance of that? I know a lot of truck drivers tune in too. So I want them to know, why is it so significant from an insurance agent's mouth to have a clean license?
So, most of my clients are in New Jersey. So, and if truckers are listening, you guys know that getting a quote in New Jersey is difficult. There's not as many carriers. 10 years ago, you could have went to 7 A-rated carriers to get a quote and you'll get one. Now, maybe if you're lucky, you'll get 3 quotes from A-rated carriers. The reason the license is so important is because New Jersey has become such a...
Well, we have national, I'm sorry, but we also have other people that watch, and clients of mine that are in Georgia, Utah, here that I work with. So I want to generalize the whole nation.
So it all comes down to each state has their own minimum rates that state determines. And it's like, hey, that's why some insurance carriers, even if you have no losses or anything, 9 times out of 10, there's a rate increase every year.
Wow. Well, yeah, so, that's true. That is
anybody who tells you, I guarantee you the same quote next year, there's no way to guarantee it, because if there is a rate increase, you don't have control of it and the carrier doesn't have control of it. It's you can't say, hey, I can save you money, I can guarantee this.
Oh, okay. I get it. John, also, this is a 2-part question. So now let's say, because I've already been through this. Like, I had a really bad accident. My company, Shark Logistics, we had a horrible accident in March. The driver, he was under the influence of something and he killed the guy. You know about it. But anyways, I know the steps, but I want my viewers to know, it's not from my mouth, but from a professional like yourself. Now, let's say a guy on the road gets into an accident. What's next? What is the next steps that he has to take?
So the best thing that you can do...
I'm sorry, he or she, because nowadays there's a lot of women truck drivers. I apologize. There's a lot of women truck drivers too, which is great.
The first thing you want to do is you want to report that claim right away. The sooner you report the claim, the sooner the claim is going to be done. At the end of the day, for your guys' accident, that large of an accident, I wouldn't. If my broker wasn't available, I would call the carrier directly to report the claim, because you know that claim is going to be a headache. That's not a straightforward, oh, I rear-ended somebody, he's not injured. You know, that's 1, 2, you could report that claim the next day, call your broker and figure it out. But especially when there's injuries involved, the sooner the carrier knows, the better. I had a client who waited 3 weeks to report a 4-car accident, and the carrier canceled his insurance because they're just like, why would you not tell us about this? There's bodily injury involved. This is going to be a huge claim for us, and you're not giving us the proper time to defend it. So you want to take all the information. If the driver's able to take pictures and everything, you want to take as many pictures as you can. When it comes to a claim, there's no such thing as too much information. The more information your carrier, because especially if everybody here is trucking, you guys know that how many times does a car come in front of your truck with not enough room for your truck to stop? Now, that is the car driver's mistake. But in New Jersey, if you hit somebody from behind, it doesn't matter what the story is. Unless you have a video proving it, there's nothing you can do. You're going to be at fault for that accident, and your insurance is going to pay out on it. So the sooner you get to them, it gives them a chance to try and defend it and figure out, hey, can we get a video from somewhere? Is there anything we can do to defend this?
I also want to add to this. One thing I know, because I've seen accidents, I've had trucks stolen, my personal truck stolen, and accidents on the road. One thing I do want to add is very, very important to have a lot of evidence. You want to take as many pictures, you want to have video proof, whatever you can to defend yourself. Because think about it, when you're on the road and you get into an accident, you see a big truck on the road, 9 times out of 10, you're going to think it's the big truck's fault. If it's an accident, you see 5 cars, just one big truck. It might have not even been the big truck's fault, but just because it's a big truck, you think it's the truck's fault.
The one of our tractors actually, not this August, last August, flipped over, and there was this huge thing about road rage and how, we were at fault and the car driver. Originally, the police officer put us at fault. They told the driver, he was just like, our driver said, hey, this guy cut me off. He was coming in front of me, slamming his brakes. My load shifted, and I came down a curb. There's literally nothing I could have done. And he goes, well, your truck flipped over, so you're definitely at fault. And a UPS truck driver actually was driving behind us, and he got the whole thing on dash cam. So where initially that claim would have completely fallen on our head with that video, with the dash cam, we're lucky he stopped. He told the state troopers, hey, we already have the information. I have the trucking company's phone number. We're going to email it to them. And we showed it in court, and that's it. We got not at fault for the accident.
All right, guys, insurance is very, very complicated. We try to cover what we can. John is a great friend of mine. John, what's your insurance company's name, John?
JBH Insurance Brokers.
JBH Insurance Brokers. Where is it based in? Out of Jersey?
Oh, yeah, Bridgewater, New Jersey.
Out of Bridgewater, New Jersey. John is a professional at what he does. I love this guy. He's helped me out a few times, and I'm sure he can help you out. If you guys want to know further about insurance, please reach out to John. John can help you. I think you can do free consultations too, right?
Yeah, I mean, I always, for me, most of my clients always start with just a phone call asking in the middle of their policy period, hey, I had a question about my insurance. Now, even if it's not to move the account or get a quote, if you just have a question that you don't know what's going on and maybe you can't get a hold of your broker or he's not explaining it fully or whatever it is, you can always call, and if there's any way I can help them, always.
So guys, we're going to put Mr. John's information, and you guys can reach out to him. Great guy. John, thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me, man.
So guys, this is it for insurance. If you guys want to know further, you can reach out to me. I can give you John's information. We are also going to put John's information in the description. If you guys like our videos, please share, subscribe, and support us. We take out our time because we actually care for our viewers. We want to see you guys succeed in this business. So please, please, please share and support with whoever you know that's in the industry or trying to learn about this industry. This information is vital if you're going to be in this business because it's a high-risk business and a lot of things could happen. Guys, thank you for watching this video. I love you. My name is Sam. I'm out from U Consulting. Thank you, John. Bye.